Hello everyone, this is Showtime 112. During the Iran-Iraq War, and in fact for a long time after it, Western sources estimated that Iranian ability to operate its range of American-supplied combat aircraft was extremely limited. This was especially true for the most complex type, F-14 Tomcat. These reports made perfect sense. Tomcat was a handful to operate, even for the US Navy, let alone a country which lost the support of the manufacturer and supply of spare parts. Before leaving Iran in a hurry, Grumman technicians supposedly sabotaged the Tomcat's ability to launch its most powerful weapon, AIM-54 Phoenix. To make things even worse, skilled Iranian personnel was actively persecuted by the new regime. Some sources were saying that Tomcat's role in the war was mostly limited to mini AWACS due to its powerful AWG-9 radar. In 2004, a book was released which began to change this perception in the West. Iranian F-14 Tomcat units in combat was written by Tom Cooper and Farzad Bishop, and it gave a very different picture. Iranian Tomcats appeared not only very active during the war, but their crews achieved many aerial victories, and often disrupted Iraqi attacks by their presence. The authors compiled a list of no less than 159 victories for the F-14 described as confirmed. They were sourced from interviews of mostly Iranian, but also some Iraqi aircrew, plus other sources such as US, Iranian, Saudi, and Soviet documents. The perception in the West now began to change, and many other books, magazines, and documentaries began writing a new account of the IRIAF's F-14s in combat. This new account might have taken us to the other extreme, depicting F-14 as a decisive weapon which devastated the Iraqi Air Force wherever it appeared. One of the stories which helped create the new, legendary image of the F-14 is the one of 3 MiG-23s shot down by a single AIM-54 Phoenix missile. Is something like that possible? According to Cooper and Bishop, on the morning of 7 January 1981, 2 F-14s were on a cap stationed between Bushehr and Hark. They were warned by their GCI of 4 MiG-23s flying in a tight formation towards Ahwaz. Tomcat's radars picked up on the Iraqi aircraft, and the lead F-14 launched a single Phoenix from a range of over 50 kilometers. The missile hit the lead MiG-23, which disintegrated in a huge explosion. The crew saw a second MiG-23 crash as well. But that wasn't all. The third MiG was seen spiraling down into the sea. The fourth MiG-23 was seen trailing smoke and retreating north. There is no mention of the Iranian crew which achieved these shootdowns. Another source which talks about this incident is a 3-part documentary called Tomcat Fights, Iranian F-14s in Combat. It's available on YouTube and you can find the link in the description. In the documentary, the F-14 pilot and RIO talk about their claim and their names are now revealed. However, there are some inconsistencies compared to the Cooper's and Bishop's narrative. The F-14 was crewed by Captain, later Colonel, Asad Adali, and Mohammad Masbouh, who eventually rose to the rank of a general. They're both described as pilots, although apparently Adali was the pilot and Masbouh was the RIO. Adali says that the incident took place a few days after the war started, and that it was probably between 9 and 9:30 at night. This means that it was long after the sunset, and it was a night intercept. This is confirmed by Masbouh, who specifies that they took off at 9:30 p.m. and flew towards Hark Island. He then says that as they were entering the cap area, he saw 3 planes on the radar screen about 65 miles away, approaching Hark. The Tomcat crew reported the contacts to the GCI, which apparently didn't see them. Masbouh initially thought it was a single contact, but only realized there were 3 of them in a tight formation as they approached. The two formations were approaching each other, and the Iranian GCI confirmed that no friendly aircraft were in the area, clearing the Tomcat crew to attack. Adeli then says that the MiGs were flying at between 1 and 2,000 feet, even though it was night. Masbouk says he suggested Adeli to shoot at the MiG in the middle, as the blast might damage other ones as well. The Phoenix was launched and the countdown started. When it reached 0, Masbouk had nothing on the screen. Adeli saw the splash as the missile reached its target, just above Hark Island. The Tomcat crew then returned to the normal pattern. Only the next day, they learned that there were in fact 3 airplane parts on the island crash site. While certainly possible, the story of 3 MiGs shot down by a single Phoenix is somewhat questionable. First, there are significant discrepancies between Cooper and Bishop's version and the one given by the Iranian aircrew in the documentary. If we assume the incident happened at night, we must ask ourselves, what are the chances that 3 Iraqi MiGs were flying an attack in wingtip formation in darkness? Iraq operated several MiG-23 variants. One of them was BN, a dedicated ground attack variant. However, neither the BN nor the other versions such as MiG-23MS or MF were all-weather strike aircraft. Maintaining such a tight formation in darkness would have been a challenge, let alone making a bombing run in a defended airspace in an aircraft unsuitable for the task. The exact lethal radius of the missile's warhead is hard to find, but some online sources estimate it to 50 feet or 15.2 meters. One source says it could be as much as 200 feet or 61 meters. The ammunition carried by the MiG and triggered by the Phoenix hit could have extended the lethal range, but still, the formation couldn't have been anything else than a very tight one. There is also the question of the radar resolution cell, which is the smallest volume of airspace in which a radar can determine the presence of more than one target. The Iranian RIO claims clearly seeing 3 separate contacts before the missile launch. I couldn't find specific data for the resolution of OG-9, so I did some experimentation in DCS World. I'm not a very experienced F-14 player, but I found the Tomcat's radar unable to distinguish between the MiGs in a tight formation. At formation separation up to 116 by 97 meters, the radar only saw one single target in auto track while scan mode, all the way through. When the MiG formation was set to 500 by 300 meters, the radar detected 2 separate targets already at 75 miles. However, it never detected a third one, and it even struggled with following the first 2. Only at Echelon, 1000 by 600 meters of separation, the radar was able to distinguish 3 contacts already at 76 miles. I was using auto track while scan radar mode. Maybe that was wrong, and some of the experienced RIOs can tell me if that is so. Maybe DCS is very inaccurate in simulating OG-9. Or maybe the story simply doesn't add up. The ability of a single missile to destroy multiple targets in a very tight formation seems like the smallest issue. The discrepancies between the 2 sources, the unlikely Iraqi night attack in a tight formation, and the radar's ability to distinguish between aircraft in such a formation are much bigger problems. This video is not trying to diminish the effectiveness of one of the most legendary fighter planes in history. I'm personally a huge fan of the Tomcat. The same goes for the accomplishments of Iranian aircrews, who were performing nothing short of miracles under almost impossible conditions. F-14 without a doubt achieved plenty of success in the Iran-Iraq War, but this particular story is very questionable. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you for your time and keep watching Showtime 112.